It's that time of the year again. Brace yourselves, everybody. These are my 25-26 championship predictions. Let's go. As always, I'm really keen to make it a conversation in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling about your championship club with less than 2 weeks to go until it all kicks off again. Please leave a like and subscribe. You've been phenomenal in supporting the videos over pre-season. Keep doing that amazing stuff. Let's begin in 24th place. Sorry, someone has to be put bottom. In 24th, I imagine not many surprises. I've got Sheffield Wednesday. The chaos at Hillsborough hasn't stopped all summer, from unpaid players limited to no funds, transfer embargoes, a managerial circus, a mass player exodus, and even an unsafe North stand. The Owls haven't really avoided bad news for a long time. Gassama, Windass, Smith, Patterson, Hickway, just to name a few, are all players that have left the club, with perhaps the only positive being that club legend Barry Bannon has agreed to stay put without a contract. Justifying this prediction was not difficult whatsoever. I've got Sheffield Wednesday in 24th. In 23rd, I've got Preston. Preston needed to hit the reset button this summer. The end of last season was a disaster, and a fresh start seemed like the only medicine. To put it bluntly, I think the window has all been very half-hearted. The signings of Thierry Small and Odeluga Ofia stand out. Beyond that, it does look like a recruitment focus on players that are okay, available, and free. Goalkeeper Iverson replaces Woodman, who left for Liverpool. Injured Jordan Thompson replaces Ryan Ledson in midfield, whilst Daniel Jefferson arrives on loan up top. Again, it's all very bland. The biggest concern for Preston is the lack of creativity through the middle. Other than potentially through the new set of wing-backs, I'm not sure where the goals are going to come from. Certainly going to be creative from. The profile of Michael Smith requires good service into the box. As for Daniel Jefferson, he's never been prolific when chances have come his way. It feels like a case of quantity over quality at Preston this summer. They've added to the group for sure, but have they added quality? I'm not sure. I've got Preston in the bottom three. In 22nd, the final team in my bottom three, I've got Hull City. Another clean-up job was on the agenda going into the summer after avoiding relegation on the final day of last season. Of course, that was until they were placed under a 3-window transfer restriction for missing payments. The squad itself does have quality scattered within it. Ivor Pandor between the sticks, I think, is fine. Charlie Hughes is a strong centre-back. Lewis Cole brings champ experience. Beyond that, though, it's just all a bit messily built. Individually, the talent can't be sniffed at in areas. Together, the new boss has got a proper job on his hands. He's been known for his adaptability. I think he's going to be leaning on that more than ever in his first season in English football. Perhaps similar in aspects to the situation at Sheffield Wednesday, Hull are experiencing potentially destructive effects of a poorly run football club at board level. For that reason, I've got those concerns seeping down into the playing squad, ending in relegation to League One. In 21st, I've gone with Wrexham, and they're really difficult to call. But one thing I'm comfortable in stating is that this season will be by far their toughest test yet. I do have my concerns about the recruitment strategy, especially at this level. Although the players arriving do bring a wealth of quality now, I question whether or not evolving sooner rather than later isn't such a bad idea if they want more than just long-term consolidation. However, the card that Wrexham can always play is the credit card. Hard-working midfielder George Thomason arrives from Bolton, creator Lewis O'Brien from Forest, whilst Josh Windass and Ryan Hardy sign on a free. There's plenty of quality there. I'm not doubting that one bit. With already an experienced squad and know-how manager Phil Parkinson at the helm, I think Wrexham will consolidate this season. It might just be a case of navigating things slightly differently now they're in the Championship. In 20th, I've placed Charlton. They return to the Championship, positively restructured from top to bottom. Nathan Jones is at the helm, and with only one full season under his belt at the Valley, achieved promotion via the playoffs. The identity was clear, the ambitions were non-negotiable, and so far this summer, Charlton's actions have suggested they're not just here for a good time. It's common knowledge that the Championship requires strength and depth. It allows managers to rotate, adapt, and adjust to the varying styles competing at this level. Thomas Kaminski adds Championship and Premier League experience in goal. Reece Burke and Amari Bell join as further defensive options. Joe Rankin Costello brings high-quality versatility, Sonny Carey creativity, and Rob Apter direct pace and purpose in the wide areas. Today, it's also been confirmed that Charlie Kelman is signing from QPR on a big fee up top. You got those names, the likes of Matty Godden, Tyrese Campbell, Miles Leaburn, Kane Ramsey. I'm missing a fair few there. There's definitely a really, really strong squad there. They'll have their tricky moments like most newly promoted teams will do, but I like what's happening at Charlton. I've got them staying up. In 19th, I'm putting my beloved Oxford United. They achieved the ultimate objective last season. It might have taken the appointment of experienced manager Gary Rowett to reach that goal, but I imagine it'll be more of the same this time around. There's been a real focus on retaining assets this summer. Exciting attacker Tyler Goodrum, hard-working striker Mark Harris, star goalkeeper Jamie Cumming, and youngsters James Golding and Josh Johnson have all signed new deals recently. Really sensible decision-making, in my opinion. On top of that, Cameron Brannigan will be joined by a new midfield partner, Brian de Kirchmakers, who joins for a substantial fee from Holland. Brody Spencer adds versatility across the back line, and youngster Luke Harris replaces Ruben Rodriguez in attacking midfield. Defensively, I have very few concerns. Jack Curry and Greg Lee look like great options at left back. Kieran Brown, Michael Hellick and Elliot Moore are strong. And on the right side, Tara Vest, Peter Kyoto, Sam Long and now Brody Spencer will be fighting for one position. The wide areas do need some attention, and a new striker to support Mark Harris should be on the list. I think that will come, given those players do arrive. I think Oxford will be fine. I've got us to stay put this season. I hope. In 18th, I've got Blackburn, and they were really tough to call because although they are one of the worst run football clubs in the Championship, they always seem to find a way to have a competent season. Although Dylan and Vyman have both left the club for nothing this summer, the output of Gay or Hassey and Cantwell should be enough in the final third again this time around. Piers and Toth look like more than comfortable options in goal. Talented fullback Callum Britton looks set to stay, whilst the midfield pairing of Lewis Chavez and Sondre Tronstad looks like more than enough. Perhaps some minor aggression for Blackburn this summer with the levels increasing elsewhere, but no serious threat of relegation for me. I've got them in the bottom half. In 17th, I've gone with QPR, where Marty Cifuentes was placed on gardening leave at the end of last season. Many feared the worst for QPR heading into a new campaign. However, the appointment of Julian Stéphan from France has brought a new wave of optimism, with a really exciting bunch of recruitment also following closely behind him. The addition of Kwame Poku is such a standout, whilst the use of the Australian market has seen young fullback Keely Adamson join the club too. Key creator Elias Chair, deep line playmaker Sam Field and captain Jimmy Dunn make up the strong core of the side, with the latter of the two recently signing new long-term deals at the club. However, from a slightly more pessimistic perspective, the squad does still have its gaps, notably the lack of a number 9. Michael Frey is a target man but not a clinical finisher, while Zansila struggled to find any kind of form since his arrival last summer. Although we'll see some improvements, I'm sure, success won't come overnight as Julian Stéphan experiences his first taste of English football. In 16th, I've gone with Watford. Their recruitment on top of a largely talented squad that was fighting for the playoffs last season has been rather exciting. Experienced goalkeeper Nathan Baxter arrives from Bolton, steady fullback Mark Boller from Turkey, defensive midfielder Hector Kiprianou from Peterborough, Aaron Kuna from Bayern Munich. It's been strong. They've also used their Udinese links to strengthen things up top, a position they were dramatically short in for large parts last season. The sacking of Tom Cleverley was controversial, and once again the disconnect between the fans and the decision makers was tested. Nobody can doubt the future is bright at Watford. It's a question of whether or not the actions of the Pozzo family will combust any long-term project that comes their way. A prediction of 14th might look rather silly come May, but I just don't trust the trigger-happy ownership who are, at any point, comfortable in changing direction unnecessarily. I've got them lower mid-table. In 15th, I'm placing Portsmouth. John Massinio was forced to adapt after a tricky start to life in the Championship last season, but with a focus on retention just as much as recruitment this summer, Pompey could now be ready to progress a step further. After Nicholas Schmidt at the number 1 spot in October, he never looked back, whilst Connor Ogilvie had no choice but to step up in an ever-changing back four. Josh Murphy couldn't stop contributing in the final third, whilst Lang and Bishop found the net consistently. The trio made up 81% of Pompey's final goals tally alone. The midfield has been rebuilt with the arrivals of Mark Kotanowski, John Swift and Luke LaRue, whilst attacking midfielder Adrian Segasic looks lively behind the striker. I think it'll be a campaign of steady progression for Pompey. They've learnt the hard way at times last season, but I've got them teetering towards the middle of the table this time around. 15th for Pompey. In 14th, I've gone with Stoke City. Mark Robbins did a wonderful job during his 6 seasons at Coventry and will want to see similar progress at Stoke sooner rather than later. Stoke, albeit like most recent summers. I think they've recruited well, and this time on paper, I'd agree. The arrival of no-nonsense defender Maxi from Plymouth and the re-signing of composed centre-back Ashley Phillips is the making of a well-balanced back line. Meanwhile, winger Sorba Thomas has looked like a bright spark already in pre-season out wide, with strikers David Mumumba and Robert Bezinic suited perfectly to the hard-working demands that are required up top. Steady progression without unrealistic expectations will be key to success at Stoke. That's been the recurring problem for a while now. But in Mark Robins, I trust. I think they'll be fine. I've got them 14th. In 13th, I've gone with Derby County. The stock of John Eustace has risen considerably over the last few championship seasons. His sacking at Birmingham was beyond unjust. He overachieved dramatically at Blackburn before arriving at Derby, steadying the ship and keeping them in the division. The arrivals of Danny Barth and Andreas Weimann couldn't be more familiar with how Eustace operates, perhaps not bringing an abundance of long-termism to Pride Park, but certainly adding a wealth of championship experience to the ranks. The front line needed some drastic improvements over the summer, with top goal scorer Jerry Yates returning to Swansea following his loan move, and while Derby, they've splashed the cash. Carlton Morris has scored 42 goals at this level during his career, whilst Patrick Agerman joins for big money from the MLS, where he scored 22 goals for his previous American club. In terms of remaining quality, Derby have got plenty. Zetterstrom racked up some brilliant numbers in goal last season. Langas took no prisoners at the back, whilst destroying Ebu Adams doesn't seem to be on the move quite yet. With all that in mind, I think Derby will be absolutely fine and will finish around mid-table. In 12th, I've gone with Middlesbrough, and filing a prediction for Middlesbrough was one of the most challenging of the year. It can't be doubted the squad has plenty of starlets within it, yet the gaps in the squad are a concern. Beginning with the positives, Finn Azaz, Morgan Whittaker, Aidan Morris, Hayden Hackney, for now, all possess remarkable quality for this level and on paper should be targeting the playoff spots comfortably. I imagine matching the ambitions of the Borough hierarchy. On the slightly more pessimistic side, the club never directly replaced Latte Lath, who couldn't stop scoring before he left in January, and when Ben Doak picked up an injury, it was evident the impact from the wide areas took a hit. We also know Rob Edwards has adopted formations with wing-backs rather than full-backs at previous clubs, and when you assess the current Borough squad, those profiles are severely lacking. Will it be a case of managerial adaptation or the use of the transfer market? That's something that needs to be resolved quickly and a pace that hasn't yet been found in their summer transfer pursuit. I could have Middlesbrough absolutely all wrong. I just see far too many creases that need ironing out before I'm totally convinced. In 11th, I've gone with Swansea, who improved dramatically when Alan Sheehan took the reins last season and have approached the summer window with a sense of positive aggression. They may have lost Harry Darling to Norwich, but have since added Ricardo Santos from Bolton and Cameron Burgess, who was playing Premier League football at Ipswich last season. Ethan Galbraith's addition is a standout one in midfield, who's fantastic for Leyton Orient, whilst Adane Anusu brings pace and flair in the wide areas. You add those names to the already strong core that includes Ben Cabango, Josh Key and creator Gonzalo Franco. They look like a squad that are a consistent number 9 away from being serious contenders. Ollie McBurney. Maybe. That's the rumour. I'm feeling positive about Swansea. I was really impressed by the impact of Sheehan when he took charge last time, albeit the sample size being fairly small. It might not come straight away, but with a few famous faces providing further investment, I can see a plan. It's now all in the execution. In 10th, I've gone with Bristol City, and I'm a firm believer that their season will be decided on one thing. How quickly can the playing squad adjust from being a possession? In 10th, I've gone with Bristol City, and I think their season will be decided on one thing. How quickly can the playing squad adjust from being a patient, possession-orientated side to an intense, high-pressing animal with and without the ball? It's fair to say the stylistic change is pretty dramatic as Struber replaces Manning at Ashton Gate this summer. The Austrian coach is inheriting a strong core. Max O'Leary played every minute of last season. Rob Dickey and the returning Luke McNally are both strong ball-playing central defenders, whilst Max Bird, Jason Knight and new signing Adam Randall bring great balance to the centre of the pitch. In the forward areas, Anis Mehmeti, Scott Twine and Mark Sykes are all really exciting creators, with the options of Sinclair Armstrong, Fali Malulu returning from loan and new man Emil Rees to lead the line. It's strong. There's every reason to suggest Bristol City will remain in the playoff conversation this season. Absolutely. For me, I expect a few stylistic growing pains, and for that reason, I've got them narrowly missing out, but I could be so wrong. In 9th, I've gone with West Brom. Ryan Mason takes his first step as a head coach at West Brom, and I think many are excited to see what he's learned from the variety of managers he's worked alongside at Tottenham. Importantly, I think he inherits the core of a strong squad. Campbell and Phillips join Bartley and Hegem at the back. Isaac Price is highly rated in the middle with Tom Fellows and Mikey Johnson, direct wide options who can make a difference. Experienced Championship players such as Alex Mowat, Darnell Furlong, Jed Wallace all remain and will all need to support the fresh ideas of the learning mason in the West Brom dugout. Josh Madger and Carlin Grant will now be joined by Norwegian striker Hegebo, who reinforce West Brom's striking options significantly. West Brom might be taking a slightly more patient approach in their hunt for Championship success. The appointment of Ryan Mason suggests the ownership are willing to wait for long-term glory. For that reason, I think it'll be a season of stylistic adjustment, but steady progression. In 8th, I've gone with Millwall. Results at the Den have improved considerably since Alex Neil was appointed in December. So much so that Millwall only missed out on the playoffs by 2 points. Serbian striker Ivanovic was remarkable during the second half of the campaign. Tanganga continued to look like a class above at the back, whilst Casper and Honore looked more than solid in central midfield. Millwall have also added a blend of experience through Masumu Leongo, exciting young talent in Zach Sturge, and the permanent signing of centre forward Josh Coburn already this summer. There's a strong case to suggest that Millwall have all the ingredients to go one better and secure a place in the top 6 this season. They very much could do, but I've got them just outside. In 7th, just missing out on the top 6, I've got Leicester. Despite their financial issues and wayward overspending in recent years, their squad, albeit on paper, is still a really exciting one. Technical creator Bilal El Khanous has the ability to toy with the Championship. Offensive fullbacks Victor Christensen and James Justin should thrive at this level, whilst Mavadidi and Fatu are often magicians in the wide areas. You had those names, the likes of Oliver Skipp, who might have struggled in the Premier League, but should improve considerably in the division below. Ben Nelson showed all the attributes of a modern-day centre-back on loan at Oxford last season, with fellow academy graduates Will Alves, Jeremy Mongo and Jake Evans ready to make an impact this season too. It's just a question of how quickly Marty Cifuentes can bring all these pieces together and form a consistent approach. That's not to say they can't be adaptable, because that was the issue with Ruud van Nistelrooy. They certainly were not adaptable, but a clear, longer-term direction must be the bare minimum at Leicester. I've got them just missing out in 7th, but a great squad nonetheless. In 6th, I've gone with Coventry. The question marks over Frank Lampard's ability to make a difference were soon silenced as they climbed from the bottom half of the Championship into the top 6 last season, losing to the eventual winners Sunderland in the playoff semi-final. The addition of Matt Grimes from Swansea in January transformed the way that Coventry built up through the centre of the pitch, whilst Rodoni, Sakamoto, Mason Clark and Haji Wright all put up sensational numbers in the attacking third of the pitch. The addition of Kessler Hayden is a really strong one off the back of a brilliant loan spell at Preston North End last season. His versatility is a huge strength of his, able to operate on both sides of the pitch and in advanced areas as well. Very much suited to the way that Lampard uses width when they attack. Coventry have been the Championship nearly team for a while now, but with critical continuity and intelligent tweaks in terms of recruitment ahead of the new season, it feels like their time. I've got Coventry in 6th. In 5th, I've gone with Norwich, and when a team backs Liam Manning in a summer transfer window, they usually reap the rewards pretty quickly. And so far this summer, Ben Napper, the sporting director at Carrow Road, well, he's been busy. The goalkeeper department has seen a total refresh after issues between the sticks last season. Medic and Darling reinforced the back line, whilst Amadou Diallo and Mateus Vestergaarden add new and improved elements to the attack. There's a lot to be excited about. Norwich still have some of the best midfield creators in the league as well, like Marcelio Nunes in front of the technically gifted Jacob Wright. I rate Liam Manning as a coach and a developer of talent extremely highly. For that reason, I've got Norwich inside the top 6. In 4th, I've gone with Sheffield United. Ruben Sellers will be under pressure from the get-go at Bramall Lane this season. Many felt the sacking of Chris Wilder was harsh, and it feels like it's going to take something rather special to earn forgiveness. Retaining talent has been just as important as recruiting new players this summer, although Sousa left for Germany. Essential goalkeeper Michael Cooper, attacking fullback Harrison Burrows, and star creator Gus Hamer have all stayed put for now. The addition of Tyler Binden adds another layer of ball-playing quality to the back line, whilst Louis Barry and Yukaki add tricky reinforcements in the wide areas too. Sellers and Wilder's styles, respectively, have their differences for sure, and the success of Sheffield United, I think, will come down to how quickly new information can be taken on board by the playing squad. Having said that, the sheer quality and depth in certain areas of this squad can't be overlooked. It's certainly top 6 material. I've got them in fourth. In third, I'm going with Southampton because their squad, for the most part, already looked in great shape to play the progressive, front-footed football that Will Still is known for. It wasn't quite until I read through the complete list of players that I realised just how exciting this season could be for the Saints. They've hit the reset button in areas, recruited in others, and actually approached this season with a strong blend of profiles. So far, only Sulemina and Carl Walker-Peters of significant interest have left the club, with the likes of Tyler Dibbling, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, and Ramsdale, Mateus Fernandez, and Flynn Downs all still at the club. Obviously, there's still time for that to change, with the window not closing until a few weeks into the season, but even if just a couple are cashed in, they won't be sold on the cheap, and that's important to mention as well in terms of reinvestment. On top of that, Shea Charles and Ronnie Edwards return after a brilliant loan spell in the Championship, looking more than capable of making an instant impact at this level. With all of that in mind, all eyes will be on Will Still, and for the first time in his career, the pressure to bring prompt success is a non-negotiable. I've got them third. In second place and achieving back-to-back promotions, in my opinion, I've gone with Birmingham City. They don't plan on staying in the Championship for very long, and based on their performances last season and their summer transfer windows so far this summer, I really don't think they will be. Chris Davis didn't take long in stamping down a clear identity in League One, but also married those principles with critical detail and contagious ambition. James Beadle adds further competition in the goalkeeping department. Phil Newman's potential partnership with Christoph Clara looks really strong. Tommy Doyle adds a completely different profile in the centre of the pitch, whilst the attacking reinforcements, well, they look frightening. Japanese attacking midfielder Kanya Fujimoto is the creative number 10 the Blues have been after for some time now, whilst his international teammate Furuhashi brings 86 goals from 4 seasons in Scotland. It's an unrecognisable Birmingham City to the one that last competed in the Championship. The direction is clear, the ambition is evident, and the talent is absolutely remarkable. I've got them in second. In top spot and winning the league, I've gone with Ipswich. They recruited some of the best talent from the Championship when they were promoted to the Premier League. They now return as a totally different animal. Last time Schmodix was in the Championship, he registered 31 goal involvements. Connor Chaplin racked up 21, Jack Clark 19, and Murray Hutchinson 16, Jada Vidagine 18, and George Hurst 13. That's a total of 118 goal contributions, with now added exposure of regular Premier League football last season. I think they could be even better. Defensively, they're not short of quality either. Dara O'Shea's new contract is a significant boost. Jacob Greaves was unplayable last time he was at this level with Hull City. Leif Davis and Harry Clark love this level too. They are absolutely stacked. The signing of Azor Matsuwa is a perfect direct replacement for the ageing and now departing Sam Morsey, and it looks like Ashley Young is being brought in to fill that void of experience as well. For all of those reasons, I think Kieran McKenna's Ipswich will be crowned Championship winners. I've got them first.